Well, to quote a famous rapper to open the song, guess who's back? Back again. Michael Stone is back. Back again. Wait, did I just say Michael Stone? Yes, I did. Gee, didn't we buy out Michael Stone last month of his 1 year deal? The 1 year left on his deal worth $3.5 million? Yes, we did. However, things changed. Mainly being Juuso Valimaki getting hurt. And he's out for an indefinite period of time and likely for much of the year here. And Calgary was seeking, veteran defensemen, both playing the bottom pair there. So it's just very interesting that they were able to bring back Michael Stone here. I mean, this wouldn't be happening if Juuso Valimaki didn't get hurt, obviously. And yes, the cap hit is still lower, but the fact that he still was owed $3.5 million in the final year of his contract, that he originally signed a 3-year contract for $10.5 million, which I felt had too much term and too much money attached to it. At the time, it made sense to buy him out because he was the odd guy out. I know last season he had a lengthy injury with a blood clot, and he didn't come back till March there, and only played in about a dozen games here, and didn't play in the playoffs, and all he is just a very sound defenseman that I think at this stage of his career is a bottom pair defenseman, and Calgary's deep at defense, but losing Valimaki, and the fact that we also lost Dalton Prout and Oscar Fenterberg to free agency there, and also the fact that I thought maybe signing Andrew MacDonald to a professional tryout would be that guy that we were looking for, because there's a misconception out there that if a team buys out a player, they can't re-sign him, and you might also think that maybe this could be try to circumvent the cap. I mean, Calgary still isn't a cap crunch. They still have some elephants in the room that need to be answered, but instead of paying Michael Stone $3.5 million this upcoming season to be, a bottom pair defenseman that maybe half the time he'll still be a healthy scratch or an extra defenseman there, and then given a long season, you need to have some depth, and I still think the Flames organization isn't quite sold on Oliver Shillington to being an everyday defenseman there, and it doesn't hurt to bring in competition. It still is strange and not strange at the same time that Michael Stone is back. I mean, if you watch the Flames TV clips there, and there was Brad Treliving talking about, let's say he said that they had a unique conversation. I'd like to know how that conversation went, in terms of, calling up Michael Stone and say, hey, yeah, it's Brad Treliving here. You might have heard that Juuso Valimaki tore his ACL there, and he's out indefinitely, and I understand, yeah, we did buy you out. I mean, it's a business, but how would you like to come back? Pay for league minimum. I personally think he was going to make that much anywhere in the NHL, and also if you see the Michael Stone interview on Flames TV, I mean, he's delighted that he's still here in Calgary. I know he was the captain of the Calgary Hitmen. Played his junior hockey here in Calgary. He's from Winnipeg, but he lives here in the off season, and it's closer to home. And the fact that he was the captain of the Calgary Hitmen, the last team that went to the Memorial Cup in 2010 there, and I guess, Calgary's lots of Calgary to Vegas flights, so maybe you can visit his brother Mark in Vegas there. But yeah, he's generally excited to still be a Calgary Flame. He did make it sound like that he had offers on the table to go somewhere else, but he just didn't really want to, really want to uproot his family to continue playing hockey there. But so now instead of paying him $3.5 million this season, now he's down to just under $1.9 million. $700,000 is his new salary for this season, but he's also going to get $1.17 million this season and next season from the buyout there. So in some way, if he comes back in the NHL either here or elsewhere, maybe makes a little more, he could still get that $3.5 million by over 2 years. But Cap Friendly is, the website that all hockey fans go to look at the cap situation here, and this still brings up the elephant in the room with the Calgary Flames, is that they're still in a cap crunch here. I mean, at the time when they bought him out, they brought in cap relief of $2.5 million this season here. However, right now, including the new contract of Michael Stone and the buyout, Calgary is now down to $7.06 million in cap space. That's one elephant in the room, is we're in a cap crunch. The other elephants in the room is training camp started yesterday, and Andrew Mangiapane and Matthew Tkachuk still have a contract yet. And a couple of weeks ago, there were still reports that Andrew Mangiapane and the Flames are $200,000 apart, where the Flames were offering $800,000 and he wanted $1 million. But I actually did see a thing online that Andrew Mangiapane has lowered it down to $850,000. Maybe they'll do a thing on that they occasionally deal Pawn Stars. Maybe they'll meet in the middle, and he'll sign for $825,000. So that would still leave Calgary with $6.2 million in cap space. And Matthew Tkachuk likely is still going to make more than that alone. So you still got to wonder what decisions could the Flames make. And this also accounts for the fact, if you go on Cap Friendly, that Juuso Valimaki is on the LTIR, long-term injured reserve, that he's likely might be done for the season, or he'd definitely be done for most of the season here. And of course, also keep in mind we bought out Troy Brouwer last season, so he's going to still get $1.5 million this season and the next 2 seasons for buying him out, because he was still owed $9 million over 2 more seasons, and he didn't work out, and 2/3 of that is $6 million and spread out over 4 years. That's how it works. So if you look on the Cap Friendly, I mean, the one guy that's still on a list as a forward is Alan Quine at $735,000. So you could take him off. He's likely going to spend more time in junior, or not junior, with Stockton, so that could bring that back up to $7 million. And then they still list Dylan Dubé on there with his cap hit of $778,000. Dylan Dubé's knocking on the door there, and he's looking more likely he might spend more time up here with the Flames. And then the other guy that's on here at $1.25 million is Austin Czarnik, and he's going to be in and out of the lineup, but he's likely going to still be, that extra forward. So the Flames are still in a cap crunch here, and there hasn't been any speculation or rumors on trades or anything, but there's still likely going to have to be a trade made. I mean, does Calgary look at trading away TJ Brody or Travis Hamonic? They've been rumored to be in deals. They're both on their last year of their contracts there, but I think Calgary invested too much in Travis Hamonic to decide to suddenly trade him. And TJ Brody, I mean, I still think he's a very useful defenseman with an offensive upside. The other piece of this I'm looking ahead to is Mark Giordano. He won the Norris Trophy as the top defenseman last year. Congratulations to Mark Giordano, and he's definitely proven he's been one of the top defensemen the last few years. That some had him thinking he was bound to win a Norris. However, he's going to turn 36 here, and we got to look ahead to have still these younger defensemen to still move up and stay in the lineup here. I mean, where do we trade any of those guys out? And then the other guy that still looks to be possibly, but you think if there was a deal to be had, I mean, wouldn't there be a deal now? But unfortunately, the way how this restricted free agent market's worked out, a lot of teams are still in a similar situation to the Calgary Flames, where teams are kind of stuck until decisions get made, and I mean, someone's still going to have to get traded here. I mean, Michael Stone is still a useful top six forward, checking forward that can pot you 15 goals and 35 points, and he's making his cap hit is $4.3 million, but apparently it's structured that actual money he'll make less than that, but that's the cap hit. But I mean, that's been the speculation all summer, and fortunately, I still think this situation, bringing back Micheal Stone, has still made the elephant in the room a little bigger, and the cap crunch, and eventually all things work out, and who knows, maybe there'll be another player that gets injured or find some way to bury someone, but more likely we're still going to have to make a trade here. And also keep in mind too that the Calgary Flames got $500,000 in retained salary off their books when they traded for Milan Lucic, when they traded away James Neal to the Edmonton Oilers there, and that's that was definitely one of the other big news that the Flames made in the off season here. But yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent. I mean, it's all right that we brought back Micheal Stone, and it's good to have players that want to play here, and he definitely had a rough year, especially with his blood clot, but I just didn't see this coming. I mean, the other day there, just on my phone it says, oh, Club Inc.'s a defenseman. And I looked it up and like, Micheal Stone? Well, apparently the misconception, I mean, the Flames, I think, still had to get some permission from the league, and the league obviously looks at all contracts, and they okayed it, knowing that, this was because of the Juuso Valimaki injury, and the fact that after the last arbitration case with Sam Bennett and Dave Riddick at the end of July there was only that 48-hour period to potentially buy someone out, and then Calgary put Micheal Stone waivers and bought him out, and then fortunately we all don't have a DeLorean where we can go ahead in time and see, and even then, if we did, would the Calgary Flames still have done this? Because their cap crunches still would have been worse. But, I mean, it's the non-compliance buyouts that I don't think any team has. The non-compliance buyout, I understand, is you able to buy someone out, and then that cap hit does not go on your salary cap. You still got to pay out the player as per terms, but the cap doesn't not go on your books for the salary cap. And I know, for example, they brought those in, and each team had two, and obviously guys like Rick DiPietro definitely had a non-compliance buyout, and Vincent Lecavier, and I think the Flames actually used one on Shane O'Brien back in 2014 there, back in the Jay Feaster era there. But, I mean, you thought with all the possible available defensemen out there, strange that's Micheal Stone that's back. I know that maybe there's some loyalty there, that he did play in the Coyotes organization, and Brad Treliving worked there before he became general manager here, so there's some loyalty there. I mean, at least for Micheal Stone's case, he's coming back to a familiar territory, familiar everything, and wants to be here. But, I mean, we still had Andrew MacDonald, and I personally think maybe he has the best chance of making the roster there, but maybe going back to, who knows, maybe could Zach Ronaldo or Devontae Smith-Pelly, could they, possibly make the club, sign into a less of a deal, and maybe trade away an Austin Czarnik or an Alan Klein, who knows. But there still has to be some moves made, because we need Andrew Mangiapane and Matthew Tkachuk here. But, it's just my going on. And then the last thing I want to bring up here is that in I think it's October 26th, if I know the date's right, when the Winnipeg Jets and the Calgary Flames will play in the 2019 Heritage Classic at Mosaic Stadium in Regina there. They actually unveiled the jersey that the Calgary Flames are going to wear. It's going to be the classic white that they wore from 1980 to 1994. I mean, I love these reds, and their current whites look sharp. But I personally think it's time that the Calgary Flames should go back to their original reds that they wore. That's their third jersey and what they wore in the playoffs last year. And their original whites. They should go back to that full time. I think it's inevitably going to happen, but as much as we change these jerseys over the years, I have most fondest memories wearing when they wore those classics when they moved from Atlanta there. But they had their best days in it, and that seems to be the trend in sports there, is that more jerseys change, the more people want the originals back. So that's, just an update and my take on Micheal Stone being back. It's strange but not strange at the same time, and does save some money, but does not, still hasn't not got the elephant out of the room yet, and those videos are sure to come. Also, Calgary Hitmen and Calgary Flames Season 2 game recaps. They'll be returning here soon, so watch for that. So if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe with all my Calgary sports content, as well as personal vlogs or anything else I share at sporting events or when I'm on the road there. As I always say, I'll see you in the next video. Go Flames go, and welcome back, Micheal Stone. We didn't have a chance to say goodbye to you either. So, best of luck, and let's bring on the hockey season here.